Tell us about what you're doing now. Tell us about. I mean, you mentioned a couple times that you do speaking engagements. What's Brian doing these days?
I wrote the book, The Birth of a Brand, right? And it's like a roadmap for entrepreneurs, and it does it. There's no graphs or pie charts or tests or anything. It's just a whole series of stories. Like the ones I've related today, they're some of the bigger stories, but there's tons of stories in the book, and each one has a lesson that I learned going along. So it's very philosophical. There's a lot of spirituality in there because I have such a strong faith in God and this spark inside me that sort of spills into the book as well.
It's
But
really practical, too, Brian. I mean, it
yeah,
is
yeah.
incredibly practical. In
In fact, I wrote that in 2014, and this in 2020 I decided to do the audio, and I thought, okay, this is my chance to update the book, and I'm going to rewrite this and correct this, and I didn't change a single word in the audio. I just realized, oh my God, this is a classic. These lessons are timeless because they apply to every audience. And so, to answer your question, what am I doing today? Everybody kept saying, "Oh my God, you should be on the stage talking about this book." And I'd never ever wanted to be a public speaker, but now it's been 15, 17, so that's like 5 years, 5.5 years I've been speaking, and now I'm all over the world. Like last year, I was in India, Nepal, Egypt, Costa Rica, Philippines, and not to mention all the US, entrepreneurial groups that I speak with. So it's speaking is now something that I've come to really love because I can tell the stories to bigger audiences and expose them to the book so that they can pick up. And even the last talk I had was in Fort Worth, right, last week. And this week I get a message on LinkedIn from some girl who was in the audience just telling me, "Oh my God, I was about to give up my company, but now I realize I'm in the infancy stage, and you've given me new inspiration, and I'm really going to work to make this happen," right? And so when I get stuff like that, and I get it all the time, I get messages, I get emails and everything, and especially after I talk, people come up going, "Oh my God, that was so powerful! You're so real." Because I don't tell all these bullshit stories about millions and stuff. I talk about the heart wrenching. Oh God, when this happened, this is what I did. And people relate to it because they're in the trenches as well. There's nothing I've experienced that they haven't experienced to this. Maybe the level's different, but the same issues. And I bet with you building your business, you've had the same issues.
Oh, I've had the exact same issues in the round. Like we're trying to show that there's a way to invest on the basis of behavior and that it actually matters. We're the
Yeah,
first of our kind, right?
I love that concept. I think you're going to be really successful with that.
Yeah. Well, I just know and for those of you that haven't read the book, Brian does this wonderful analogy of a business like a child.
Can I tell the theme of that? The theme is that you can't give birth to adults, right? If you look at the stock exchange page in the Wall Street Journal, every single one of those companies started with like 1,000, like 28 pairs, like was my starting year. They all started with something similar, and now they're all the biggest companies in the world. But every business, someone has to conceive the idea, and then you take the first action, and that's the birth. So the birth of UGG was me buying some samples from Australia, right? And then every business just goes into this horrible infancy, and it just lies there, and it lies there, and you got to keep feeding it, and you're changing the diapers, and you wonder if you've done the right thing, but an infant can't get up and go to college, right? An infant has to be an infant, right? But if you get through that stage and you don't give up on your dream, you'll start to toddle, and that's a great phase because the magazines are writing articles about you, and your first true believers are telling all their friends about you and your product or your service, and that eventually gets into the youth phase, which is the best of every business. You got consistent production, sales and marketing's working, administration and cash collections is working, the warehouse is shipping, and you can run a 20, $30 million company in that youth phase. But if it's a really great product or a really great service, like UGG was eventually, you get sort of sucked into these teenage years, and you recall on a Saturday night as a teenager, you want to be in every party in town, right? Well, it's the same in business. You want to be in every mass retailer and you want to be in every major trade show, and you can just suck your cash out, and go bankrupt so fast if you get into that mindset. But eventually, the accountants put the controls in and you become a mature company. So, yeah, that theme is where so many people come up to me afterwards and go, "Oh my God, I was about to give up, but now I see I'm in the toddling stage or the youth stage," and it's really really cool.